If there was going to be a settlement, it would be from within 90 days when they were forced to turn over the documents. And so my timeline agrees with Jeremy Hogan in that sense. So the earliest, in my opinion, the very earliest is the end of March. I think it's much more likely that we see a result ruling from her in late April or May, unless there is a settlement.
And you could break them into the commercial side and the development side. I was kind of in the middle where I had some rigorous knowledge of stuff, but also I kind of had some business skill, and I try to keep them both together like an unstable element. On the commercial side, we wanted to create a traditional company, kind of like Ripple.
But what history also tells us is that when all confidence is lost in the currency, then what do? They put a component of gold back in that currency to get the public to trust it and use it once again. 100% of the time.
Knowing that the global demand for US dollars and for US debt should remain strong enough to prevent hyperinflation. However, when OPEC and the other major global oil players decide to pull the plug and finally denominate their oil sales in another currency other than the dollar, the artificial demand for the dollar will decrease.
He recognizes that crypto is a once in a multi-generational opportunity, and I don't think he's going to waste it.
You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
If you got a bag, welcome to the party. Welcome back to some more Moon O'Clock news. No breakfast, no coffee, just straight extra foolishness. Shout out to the latest sub, Devin Hines in the building. Appreciate you stopping by, tuning in. Go ahead, throw on those pilot shades, and buckle up, because the future's extra foolish. Let's go full speed, full throttle into the cryptoverse. We got XRP currently trading right under 47 cents, up about 1.6% in the past 24 hours. Taking a look at the rest of the cryptocurrency market cap here, back above 1 trillion, right around 1.02 trillion, up about 5.7% in the past 24 hours. BTC 20,300. We got ETH right around 1,500. We got Stellar XLM in the number 27 spot, 11 cents, up about 1.1 in the past 24. Ripple says we're at Money 2020 in Las Vegas this week. Stop by our booth, 4401, or head over to the Build Bold stage at 2:25 p.m. to hear from VP of Central Bank Digital Currencies, James Wallace, as he discusses money reimagined in the age of CBDCs. This was yesterday. Ripple over at Money 2020. In case you missed it, our newest partners in Europe, Lemonway and XBot, will use our crypto-enabled payment solution, HODL, HODL, to manage internal treasury and provide faster, more affordable retail remittances. Read more about these partnerships. Ripple brings the benefits of on-demand liquidity to France and Sweden. All roads lead to the bridge. What's more, Ripple has announced a partnership with money transfer provider XBot in Sweden to enable instant, affordable retail remittances, because on-demand liquidity makes it possible to move capital around the world in seconds at a fraction of the cost of traditional payment rails that businesses rely on today. XBot is able to leverage this technology to enable their customers to send money across borders faster and cheaper than ever before. Ripple's goal of using blockchain and crypto to build real use cases has positioned us to become the partner of choice for enterprises to tap into global crypto liquidity, eliminating the legacy frictions associated with cross-border payments such as slow settlement times, lack of transparency, and excessive costs. Jump on the XRP ledger or get left behind. Digital asset investor, I predict a settlement in the SEC versus Ripple. If that's going to happen, it happens within 90 days of when they're forced to turn over the documents, according to John Deaton. After watching this clip, I'm convinced we get a settlement and never see the Hinman docs. Link to.
So, John, taking that into consideration, I know that we recently saw Jeremy Hogan suggest that if there was going to be a settlement, he thought it might happen by the end of the year. And tell me if I'm wrong, but I think I read somewhere that 90% of all SEC cases end in a settlement. And if that's correct or not, but do you think that that is where we end up, or do you think this thing is going to go to the judge? How do you think this thing ends up?
If there was going to be a settlement, it would be from within 90 days when they were forced to turn over the documents. And so my timeline agrees with Jeremy Hogan in that sense. Ongoing and future sales of XRP by Ripple and in the secondary market are not secured. That if they don't get that, there's not a settlement. If they get that, there's a settlement within minutes. I mean, I'm paraphrasing Stuart Alderati, but he basically said, not to me, to the world, that a settlement happens very quickly if that happens. And if I'm advising Gary Gensler, I'm saying, look, these emails definitely are going to cause issue. We can seal all of this up right now in a settlement. Also, we're really going to lose, Gary. We're going to lose. Let's see if Ripple will pay, let's pick $100 million. Let's take that victory. We can narrow it and say that, you know, each crypto is fact and circumstances. And just because XRP is not a security, that doesn't mean the others aren't. And we can still go after each other one. To me, like, I'd be in Gary's ear saying, you can get on TV instead of talking about Kim Kardashian with $1.3 million, dude, you can get up there and say that you held this company responsible. This one of these big fintech companies. You got $100 million in addition to the $100 million you got from BlockFi. You're holding these companies accountable. Like, you could just spin it politically. You know, you can imagine all the spin masters. It would make us vomit, right?
Great John Deaton update video with link to on timeline for settlement or summary judgment.
And I am currently working on XRP holders amicus brief that'll be filed within a week. All the papers will be done and in front of the judge by, I think it's November 15th. And so at that moment, all papers are in. There's always a chance that some other amicus shows up. I don't know, but usually not. And we're just then in standstill of one of two things to happen. Either a settlement or the judge comes down with a ruling. Now, unfortunately, as you can imagine, 2 years of litigation, each brief is like 80 pages. And so there's like 5 of them. There's thousands and thousands of exhibits and deposition testimony and expert reports, all that stuff. No judge is going to be able to turn that around in a matter of a couple months. It's just not going to happen. And so the earliest, in my opinion, the very earliest is the end of March. I think it's much more likely that we see a result ruling from her in late April or May, unless there is a settlement. And a settlement could happen anytime.
Settlement end of year, March. The longer they take, the more we get, and the higher we climb on that XRP rich list. Library.com says prediction, Gary Gensler will not be running the SEC by January 31st. 2023. Reggie Middleton responds here. He says, assuming USDC does infringe on patent US 111.96566, then Circle pushes that infringement as contagion throughout the crypto and traditional financial industries. As a matter of fact, 566 infringement is compounded by infringement of other patents, an example, MakerDAO. We've got many aspects of the USDC regulated stablecoins, such as USDC infringes on Veritasium's technology, namely the 566 and 477 patents. Notorious XRP, what a nightmare. XRP, the standard.
So I know they had a sophisticated app developed.
And I had about six months at Ethereum. It was a super stressful time. Too many founders, too much going on, too much drama.
When you say too many founders, I feel like every second person I meet is like, I was an Ethereum founder.
There's only
Most of them are not even like written down. A lot of them are unofficial. Like, this has very nebulous beginnings.
Yeah, the first 5 people on Ethereum were Vitalik and Mihai. They were the very first 2 because Mihai and Vitalik did Bitcoin Magazine together. Emir Shatri, he was working with Vitalik on Color Coins and Mastercoin because Vitalik was doing overlay protocols at the time. And then Anthony Diorio brought me in. So we were the initial 5. And then the first 2 real programmers we had were Jeff Wiltshire and Gavin Wood. And they came in a little later. And then Anthony and Vitalik kind of brought in Joe Lubin because he was hanging around the Toronto area. So I consider those 8 people the founding set. And you could break them into the commercial side and the development side. I was kind of in the middle where I had some rigorous knowledge of stuff, but also I kind of had some business skill, and I try to keep them both together like an unstable element. On the commercial side, we wanted to create a traditional company, kind of like Ripple. You know, if Rootstock somehow had gotten done faster and they could have gotten Taproot in, there'd be no Ethereum today. And Ethereum was just in the right place at the right time with the right founders, the right community, and the right commercialization. And really it was the brilliance of Joe Lubin and his ability to market and gather adoption and build an ecosystem.
Charles, are you there? We got the evidence. Get those jumpsuits. Get those gel cells ready. ArcadeX, the UK's financial conduct authority, big tech entry and expansion into retail financial services in the future. Some crypto assets may be also used as a widespread means of payment. Payment intermediaries, the bridge, XRP. Bullish momentum on XRP exit strategy, XLIST 30, automated market maker, public liquidity pool, sidechains will also be built. Pure Assist, EVM sidechain bridge, options, stake XRP, participate in the DeFi apps that will be built on the sidechain. We got Trustline Inc., PolySign Inc., standard custody, so no exit. Crypto tells 40 million Cash App users can now send and receive slow Bitcoin Lightning payments. Wait till they get a HODL of that HODL. Mac Attack XRP. Western Union files trademark application for crypto exchange, transfer, brokerage, and more. Western Union files trademark application to delve into crypto. Looks like they don't want to get left behind. Jump on the XRP standard before we take flight. Flurry Finance, the wait is finally over. Flurry Finance NFT migrations will begin this week. Put on your samurai armor and head to your DeLoreans. More instructions to come soon. We'll catch you at the tippy top. Digital asset investor says, smart woman.
And so are they repositioning to back the dollar with gold? Now look, do not get me wrong. This was just introduced and I think that it's fabulous. And it certainly lays out all of the reasons why they should do it. But they cannot do it until that mountain of debt is burned off in a hyperinflationary depression. It could be a hyperdeflation. Doesn't matter. They're really the same thing, just the flip side. There's only one way to fight inflation, that's with deflation. And there's only one way to fight deflation, and that's with inflation. So it makes it pretty simple. But what history also tells us is that when all confidence is lost in the currency, then what do? They put a component of gold back in that currency to get the public to trust it and use it once again. 100% of the time, over 4,800 times, this is exactly what's happened.
Prepare for the transformation of wealth. Bags packed. Law of attraction, daily bull pennant broke out but bounced back in. Hopefully BTC plays ball and helps it break out. Egg rack crypto, can you still handle 427 days of ranging? Prepare for the worst case scenario and load up for the best case scenario. Digital asset investor, the green candles in crypto have been a distraction. Crypto has always been about the petrodollar. This was from 2007. Look around. We're closer than we ever been.
When, not if, the petrodollar system begins to crumble, the dollar will begin its death spiral. Right now, America has a permission slip to print all the dollars that it wants to print. Why? Because the world needs dollars to buy oil. It's that simple. So the Fed just prints away, knowing that the global demand for US dollars and for US debt should remain strong enough to prevent hyperinflation. However, when OPEC and the other major global oil players decide to pull the plug and finally denominate their oil sales in another currency other than the dollar, the artificial demand for the dollar will decrease. The US will be stuck holding a lot of worthless paper dollars that no one needs anymore, which will ultimately lead to massive inflationary pressures on the US economy. Don't think that this won't happen. Foreign governments are acutely aware of America's economic problems. Knowing this, many of them are biding their time by actively looking for alternatives to the US dollar-denominated assets for investment purposes. In the months and years ahead, other global currencies will be strong competitors for these same global investment dollars. When the petrodollar system collapses, it will lead to astronomical interest rates and the end of the US dollar. So with all of that in context, consider this week's report by the New York Times about China and Russia moving away from the dollar. According to the report, the two countries opened direct trading between the Chinese yuan currency and the Russian ruble, thus allowing them to completely avoid the US dollar in their bilateral trade. Among their imports and exports that will avoid the use of dollars? Oil. Friends, Russia and China are pioneering a move away from the US dollar. The collapse of the dollar is coming, but it's not here yet. So now to answer my earlier question on when the dollar will collapse. The dollar will completely collapse when the petrodollar system collapses.
And if you remember the old Marvin Gaye graphic, we already have a new standard, XRP. Know what you hold, know what's coming. RippleNet was designed so that customers seeing the benefits of our fiat-based network could flip the switch to on-demand liquidity, and that's exactly what's happening. And if you remember this tweet from David Schwartz, we'll have until November 4th to figure out what the Roku channel is. And we got the Sim Racing channel on Roku. TV is free again. This coming week, the tech team will flip the switch and TSRC will be free for all to watch your favorite broadcasters and leagues. Those who purchase an annual subscription will get a full refund once this happens. You'll have till November 4th. Also, another cryptic tweet. David Schwartz says a haunted house, but it's filled with Bitcoin maximalists. And with that being said, Bagman and Bag Ladies, recognize that cryptocurrencies is a once-in-a-lifetime, multi-generational opportunity. Don't let it pass you by. Bags packed.
And Britain specifically, that Rishi Sunak will be working very closely with his chancellor. And I would imagine that chancellor would also be fairly pro-crypto, given that Rishi Sunak styles himself as a Thatcherite. And Thatcher, of course, inherited the UK when it was known as the sick man of Europe with 14% inflation. She made a series of tough decisions that were very divisive. But by the mid-'80s, she deregulated the financial markets, and we saw the Big Bang, which put the City of London on par with New York. And I think that Rishi is going to try and do that again here in the UK. He recognizes that crypto is a multi-generational opportunity, and I don't think he's going to waste it. I think we're going to see the financial markets bill that was authored under him and submitted shortly after he left does speak to crypto and to giving wider powers to the Treasury and therefore the Chancellor to make sure that these kind of initiatives get through the regulators.
Once in a lifetime, multi-generational opportunity still at your fingertips, hidden in plain sight. The one and only cryptocurrency, the SEC, and the rest of the fudsters don't want you with, because they know what's coming. We know what's coming, and they can't stop it. Where will you be when XRP, the new standard, the internet of value, is flipped on? We'll catch you up here at the tippy top. I am the XRP Bagman, the Moon Commander, currently up here on the mothership, stuffing some bags and enjoying the show. Appreciate you stopping by, tuning in, smashing those likes for some more Moon O'Clock news. Hope y'all continue to stay extra bullish out there. Continue holding those good vibes. Remember to sell the FUD, buy up that bag. And don't forget to spread that liquid love. Also, if you're new here, don't forget to drop a subscribe. Drop a comment down below. All the OG diamond hands out there, drop a comment down below. Drop an elbow on that like button from the top floor. We'll catch you up here on the mothership for the moon party. BYOB. Bring your own bag. Peace out, Crypto Ghost.
Spaceship invisible, it fly real gentle. The SEC settle, we blasting off the ghetto. Big bags on me, middle fingers to the devils. Rocket fly itself, no keys, no pedals. RippleNet memos, him and got the pose. This was all a show, they want you out for show. Now they been exposed. Why a lawsuit on your last day going out the door? Got you on that blockchain trail. SEC getting paid in ether. Bitcoin hella slow, do some research. I don't wanna be your crypto teacher. Stop asking me what to buy, it's on my t-shirt. New commander in a rocket, by the